Hello, 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 hello. I believe we are live. Hello. Yes, apologies for the technical difficulties, but we're live now. Uh, Purpose of this video is basically to give a video version of the article that's written on the site, giving the details of Prague Lions' current situation. So let's start at the beginning, right? The Prague Lions um, Prague Lions, there was rumors, right, that the Prague Lions weren't going to play their game that was scheduled for today, Sunday, in Hungary against the Fehérvár Enthroners. That has since been officially canceled. So let's start from the outside in, right? So the first ran sports, Nate Morris on Twitter around the ELF and Sebastian Müllerhof. Um, they were reporting that there's infighting in the Prague Lions organization, and that they're not going to show up on Sunday. The league initially denied this, saying there will be a game. This is Friday. They said no, there will be a game. Prague Lions are showing up Saturday morning. Fehérvár Enthroners announced that there is no game and are now on the hook refunding 2,200 tickets for the game. Really unfortunate for the Enthroners. We'll get into that more later. Talking to my sources within the situation within both the Prague Lions and the Fehérvár Enthroners, this is really bad for both teams, right? Like Nate Morris initially said, things are not good in Prague. The head coach, longtime head coach, Zach Harrod, has stepped down. He was sort of the pioneer of the Lions joining the ELF. And the main reason is, according to these sources, that the Prague Lions were supposed to get an influx of cash from investors, from sponsors. However, there was no date set on that money to come in. So the Prague Lions were paying out of pocket for a lot of costs, a lot of operating costs, including player salaries, transport, equipment, etc. Waiting for money to come in from sponsorships, waiting for money to come in from investors. However, this did not happen. This is all according to the Prague Lions players I spoke to. Yeah. So players have not been paid for June, much less July, and many have not been paid for May. This ended in Nate Cox, the recently signed quarterback, leaving. By the way, the tallest quarterback in Division I football. Played one game in the ELF and had like 20 passing yards. So short and pretty awful ELF run for Nate. Hope he bounces back somewhere. Um, yeah, so Prague Lions got rid of Shazan Mumphrey, brought in Nate Cox, and basically everything fell apart. Nobody's been paid. The players did not practice at all last week. They basically were on strike, as you can put it. They weren't getting. Basically, what they conveyed to me was that they had lost trust in the management, lost trust in Zach Harrod, and lost trust in the ELF. To be honest, they got all their equipment late. Everything just wasn't wasn't as great as it seemed from the outside in. Let me just take a look at what I'm missing here. Nate Cox has since left, according to Nate Morris. He does have some agents representing him, and they told him it's probably best for him to go. Yeah, basically, there's a rift between the players and management, which ended up with Zach Harrod stepping down as the GM, head coach, and sort of Mr. Prague Lions, right? He did bring some American coaches with him. They are still in Prague, hoping to play. I think the Prague Lions could be back next week. Most of their team is still there. I'm getting some music somewhere. Hold on, guys. Sorry. Apologies. When you're on a site and the advertisement starts playing music. Anyway, um, where was I? Yeah, the American coaches are still there in Prague. Maybe they can convince the team to play. Patrick Azume was apparently on a call with the Prague players, trying to get them to play, trying to get them to make the trip to Hungary. However, we both know that didn't happen. We all know that didn't happen. Yeah, it seemed like the Prague players, especially the Czech homegrown players, really lost trust in Prague management and the ELF. So, what the future holds for that, I'm not sure, to be honest. And unless these guys get paid, I bet they're not going to play. And similar to the Leipzig Kings situation, I don't think they will get paid unless the league steps in or another investment group steps in and is able to put money in right now without asking too many questions, which is a lot to ask. Um, let's talk about the ramifications. Prague Lions don't show up, and Throners lose, I would guess, around 40,000 euros if you count the tickets, hot dogs, concessions, everything in revenue that they were depending on. The Enthroner schedule now, because of the Leipzig Kings also dropping out, they only have 3 games left and only 1 more home game. That's tough for a team that just upped its budget probably 5 times from last year. Yeah, that really is going to put the Enthroners in debt, I would imagine, for this season. Just thinking about the space of European football. The Cologne Centurions also lose a home game. And the Vienna Vikings now lose 2 home games, with the Leipzig Kings dropping out in the Eastern Conference, along with the Prague Lions now. For the Vikings, who get around 4,000 or 5,000, I would guess, conservatively at home games, that could be 100,000 euros that they lose, even more. Even for a team like the Vienna Vikings, who are established and in good financial sitting, that's a lot of money. So I think the league needs to figure this out. Apparently, according to Nate Morris, again, great follow on Twitter, I'll give him a shout out. He really owned this story. They are meeting at the beginning of August while the ELF has a bye week to talk about some next steps for the league, because now we've basically lost 2 teams in just over 2 weeks. Really bad look for the league. And yeah, it's unfortunately, it doesn't just hurt the Lions. It doesn't just hurt the Kings. Them not showing up across these games is going to hurt everybody's pockets, especially in the Eastern Conference, where you have Berlin, Wrocław, Vienna, and who am I forgetting? Yeah, Prague Lions and Leipzig Kings. So, yeah, really unfortunate story. If you want to read more about it, please check out the link in the description. Personally, I think the ELF needs to downsize, maybe play with 10 or 12 teams next year. Trying to expand to 24. We're going to see more teams drop out, and it's going to be midseason like this. And yeah, I mean, say what you want about Istanbul Rams, they finished the season, right? These guys couldn't even make it through week 8. Really disappointing. I love the ELF. I want the ELF to continue. It's growing the game. It's making football in Europe cool when the GFL couldn't. And I hope it continues to grow, because I know it's making more fans and more players and coaches and just growing the game that I love. However, can't continue on this path. This is not the right way. Feels like a way of greed, growing too fast. We need to downsize, make this thing last and be sustainable. Anyway, yeah, like I said, please check out the article in the description, and thank you guys for watching.